He's not a bat, he's a man who fights crime. And we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time. With John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat-Minute!
Attention, citizens of fair Gotham, and welcome back to the Friday episode of Bat-Minute Forever, the show that slays the giants of podcasting via incomparable chat. You can't top this. This is the number one, baby. I am one of your hosts, John Parker.
I was not expecting that intro to go that that was really well. That was almost Alan Partridge-esque in his delivery, John. I really enjoyed that.
I always have Alan Partridge on the brain.
But I am forever screaming into the night sky, cursing my fate. I'm the co-host, Niall McGowan.
Yes, and we are joined once again by our very special guests. We have Connor Coulson and Phil Dragash.
Oi!
Hi.
Now I'm worried, because I've been worried in the past that I've mispronounced Phil's name, because I always say it's Phil Dragash or Dragash. The way you said Connor Coulson, I was like, I've been calling him Coulson the whole time. I feel like an idiot.
Yeah, no, my name is actually like Agent Phil Coulson.
Yeah.
Actually, our names combined, if you combine us, we are
Phil
the
Coulson.
Voltron.
It's purely an accent thing, Niall. It's the same word.
Yeah, I know. So many people say it, and I just go, yeah, I'm a cool son, even though my parents don't talk to me.
Oh.
Well, that's a dark note to start.
I was just going to say that I usually say Dragash, but I mean, I don't mind if someone says Dragash. I don't mind.
Oh, see, I normally say it as Dragash.
I'm going to call you Phil Dragass.
Yeah,
now.
I know. That's what my cousin Tim on our podcast, Twofold, likes to say.
I think I remember when Clarice Lockery was on. Because I think, every other episode we've ever done with her is like, oh, Clarice Lowry. And then the last episode in editing, I could hear her saying, like, yes, Lockery. It's like, oh, God damn it. God damn it. But oh, well.
And the minute starts with a wall-bound hurtle, and it ends with a giant slayer.
Yeah. Getting into this, though, in talking about, why don't the wheels rotate, and the fact that the thing, John and apparently Connor now, their powers combined to take down this Batmobile. One thing I will concede, this lift doesn't look good.
Voltron of Scorn.
And I can only assume maybe the wheels don't turn because it's easier than when the thing was going up in the air, because they just had a toy.
It looks like an action figure.
Yeah.
It's just... Oh, God, I don't like
What's so bad about an action figure?
Again, and what you were saying last minute, Phil, if that's what they're going for, in terms of Ellie Goldthal, thinking of music that you would play with your toys to, maybe they were kind of going it just looks a bit like you lifted your Batmobile toy and driven it up the wall or something. And maybe that's what they had in mind. I don't think that is. I think, again,
No, I don't think
Schumacher.
so. I think they tried making it real, but whatever.
I like the wall gag, though. That's very 60s
Oh,
Batman.
what a great
Except
reference.
they never get the car up there.
That's amazing.
Yeah, because Joel Schumacher thought up the scene kind of wholesale. I can only assume he's like, they used to do that wall bit in Batman quite a bit. I think we'll throw in something like that. And I actually went and did some research into who were the celebrities who appeared during the old. In case listeners that don't remember, there used to be a recurring thing in Adam West's Batman when him and Robin would be either going up or down up the side of a building, and a random celebrity would always poke their head out and go like, "Batman, what are you doing here?" and stuff like that.
Batman, you say?
I'm counting on it. Yeah, I've got there's 15 cameos in total. So the first one was Jerry Lewis. Martin and Lewis fame. Of course, Jerry Lewis would go on to be in The King of Comedy with Robert De Niro playing Rupert Pupkin, which was a major influence on the Joker movie that came out quite recently. So
For sure.
Everything's connected. There's a lot of these people though. There's ones I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe they did it. But there's a lot of dated American celebrities. I have no idea who they are. George Cesar? Don't know who that is. No. Dick Clark, I know, was the guy who used to do New Year's stuff, but I only know that from him being mentioned in other things about him being the New Year's guy.
That's all I know.
Yeah.
It's It's funny when watching things growing up, and my parents were like, "Oh, that's such and such." I'm like, "Who?" And it's a celebrity from decades before I was born. One example was Batman the Animated Series, the Mad Hatter. And my mum heard Mad Hatter's voice. She's like, "That's Roddy McDowall." I'm like, "Who does it?" And then later on, actually, one of the few science fiction things she loves is Planet of the Apes. So a few years later, we were watching Planet of the Apes, and it's like, "Oh, okay." And I really love those characters, and very familiar with them now. So yeah.
But then after that, they had the Green Hornet and Kato. So Bruce Lee was friggin' there at one point. Of course, then they ended up having a crossover episode with Batman. But apparently Bruce Lee refused to. He walked off set because originally it was scripted that Robin was supposed to beat him in a fight, and Bruce Lee was like, "Get the fuck out of here! That's not going to happen."
Yeah.
And yet, that's the one thing in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood that really, really bugs me is that Quentin Tarantino wrote a character that could beat up Bruce Lee, and I was like, "What the fuck?"
Oh yeah.
But
I don't mind if Tarantino does it.
He's
just
real life Goku.
He's just making fun.
I mean, yeah, but in the movie, do you guys think that was just him sort of daydreaming that, or was that actually you think that was?
Well, I think that's supposed to
remembering?
be a literal thing that actually happened and stuff. I don't think that's
okay.
But and after that, Sammy Davis Jr., Jose Jimenez, don't know who that is. Sam Stone, don't know who that is. Colonel Klink from Hogan's Heroes, which is a really bizarre one to see because he's like Batman's associating with, I think Colonel Klink was like a Nazi as far as I remember, and he's talking about like that damnable Colonel Hogan will get one of your bat ropes in the camp, and it's like is Hogan this is the 60s. Does Colonel Klink still think the war's going on? What the hell's going on? The next one I really loved was Lerch from the Addams Family pokes his head out because you hear the entire time you hear the Batman theme been played on a harpsichord.
I think you mean Mr. from Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Of course. Is it the actor or is he in character?
No, he is in character. Like he pops his head out and he's just like, "Oh, Batman, you gave me a star." And you can hear the Batman theme has been played on the harpsichord, and then Batman's like, "You can get back to your harpsichord now, citizen," and stuff like that. And then after that, you had Don Ho. Not too sure that was. Santa Claus was one of them.
From Pee-wee, yes.
Yeah, of course. Art Linkletter, don't know who that is. Edward G. Robinson, who must have been like one of the biggest friggin' people they got. His one's weird, because I think it's like, Edward G. Robinson's like a big friggin' actor. Like he's a Hollywood royalty at that point. And he's treating it very seriously. Like they kind of pause, he slows down the timbre of the scene. He's kind of like, "Oh, Batman, what are you doing here?" And it just seems like this is way, way too slow. But it's like as if the makers of Batman didn't want to tell, "Hey, Edward, fucking get things moving here, would you?" Like they're like, just let him do his process, and we'll use whatever take we can because
that was edited down. It's like one of our episodes.
But Edward G. Robinson will come up again next week, actually, because he's got a nice little tie-in to the minute after this one. And then someone called Susie Knickerbocker. I'm not too sure who that is, but I think she was like a supermodel, maybe, or like a TV presenter of some sort. And then someone called some English guy who they never say the name, but he refers to himself as the Carpet King. And I don't know if that was like an advert or something, but like... very, very odd. But that was all the cameos of going up the side of the side of the buildings.
I love the idea that the Carpet King is just an ad that people like really enjoyed. Like, get him in, it'll be fine.
Oh, it's the Carpet King from Pennsylvania. Although thinking like if Joel Schumacher really pushed this, like in 1995, who would have been the celebrities poking their heads out the window? Because it would have been like, Chandler, I guess. Like, could you be any more of a Batman?
Michael Keaton.
Could your bat vehicle be any more mobile? But yeah, I don't know. I was wondering, and like, what celebrities nowadays would be poking their head out of the window in a Batman show? But like, it'd be probably really annoying people. Like, well, James Corden does everything, so I guess he would be one of them.
God, no, it would be as well.
That's good. I was gonna say Logan Paul, but I guess that would be kind of.
Oh no!
God, imagine that.
But within the minute though, because Batman does this nice little grapple thing. Apparently, too, they within the Batmobile specs they say that because this is a really dodgy shot when it goes up on its back wheels. Like it looks really, really hokey.
No, it's bad.
Yeah, it's just a bad shot. Well, they say apparently this is a system wherein he reroutes all the energy going out the back to come through a hole down the bottom. So that's why it's so all the engine propulsion has basically now been rerouted to the front of the car. But it still was like, wouldn't you need like stabilizers? Like it's still, I don't think it would just go straight up like that. I think it would like wobble around and stuff. But
Am I the only person who likes this?
Oh
I
my
think it's
God.
really cool.
what the bizarre world are we in, John? It was like,
What is this?
It's very well. Yeah, that's. I thought you were on my side. I don't know.
This is one of my favorite parts of the movie. Especially the way it's not foreshadowed at all. Like you genuinely, when he's approaching the wall, you're like, "What's he gonna do? How's Batman gonna get out of this one?"
Batman is going to die.
Yeah.
I think the concept is good. It's just execution. Like it's going so fast. Especially that shot of the apartments. It looks really sped up and cheesy.
Yeah, it's going for the 60s
It looks like an action
thing.
figure going up a miniature. Yeah, I don't.
And I love the way the goons explode in a giant fireball for no reason.
Yeah, why
I
not?
mean, that works.
Okay.
Why not? That's what's great. Yeah,
There's a
it's
good
cheesy.
Batman again, just like, yeah, I knew they were gonna crash, but like, hey, not my problem. So
And it even does a 60s sound effect at the end. It goes like, "Brrr," in
Yeah.
the music.
it's kind of like 60s Batman meets like the Pink Panther in a weird way. Like, it's,
Yeah.
It's great. I
Absolutely.
love it. I think it's ridiculous in the right way.
Actually, yeah, I guess for me, it's not because it's cheesy or camp. It's just not epic enough. It's just sort of, that's the best you could do with this budget.
You want like a 50 car pile up and explosion.
Yeah.
Yes! He doesn't even need the winch. He just
He just
a pile
drives.
of cars in, Blues Brothers fashion. He just like it's a ramp. He just drives up that ramp of 100 cars.
Oh, that'd be good.
And gets on the roof.
Yes.
like one of two things is like, I do wonder if he installed the grapple after the last movie, because last time we saw the Batmobile was like when he nearly he had to turn it into the Bat Bullet or the Bat Cucumber as we called it in the show.
Bat
I wonder if he's just like,
Cucumber.
I'm getting a grapple installed because that's never going to happen to me again. But if you're saying no, not epic enough, Connor, and you of course know the work of the novelization like Peter David, you always seems to be like, make things a little more sensible, and like all the moments of wild abandon are kind of like reined in a little bit. He throws in something so
He cannot sanction his buffoonery.
but he throws in something so relentless campy. I was like, what the fuck? What was he on when he wrote this? He adds in the grapple bit is still there, but prior to it, because it's all on rooftops, Batman has to keep going up higher and higher. And one of the things he adds in is that there's suction cups on the wheels. So he'll do a jump, land on the wall, and then just like up the side of the building with big suction cups on the side.
That's not how anything works.
And that's beyond 60s stuff. That's like even they would be like, Bill Dozier would have been like,
That's like Ratchet and Clank. That's an obscure pool. Sorry. Have you ever wandered around the city and you look up and you just go, the buildings are too far apart. You couldn't be Spider-Man. You couldn't be Batman. This doesn't work.
Yeah, I suppose it only works in very specific sort of American contexts, really.
Well, Spider-Man specifically, I guess he's made only for New York, and they do make a joke about that in Homecoming, where he's at a suburban house party and he has to go and chase the bad guy.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, oh no, what do I do? There's no building.
he's like
That's
running
great,
across
man.
this giant field. Just like,
It just has to run really
Yeah,
fast.
Niall, imagine him in
But he
Liverpool.
can.
That wouldn't work.
oh yeah. That's like in Spider-Man, even like in like L.A. Like if you brought Spider-Man into
yeah.
like Die Hard, it's like how's he going to get to the top of the Nakatomi? There's no other fucking buildings around to swing on. He's like, I guess I'd have to just start at the bottom and climb all the way to the top.
I love how
Yeah.
the automatic thing you pinpointed was Nakatomi Tower.
Yeah, of course.
Most iconic building in cinema.
On Two-Face's, the door of his car, there seems to be... Is that the fuel cap? Something's open there. There's a lid.
I'm not too sure.
There's-
Oh yeah. Oh, that's weird.
But
What
how
is
would
that?
work? I've never seen that on any vehicle in my life.
It can't be the fuel cap because
I know so little about cars, I have no idea.
Yeah, don't ask me.
Because it would have to go through the door. That doesn't make any sense.
Is it this the door
That's
handle?
very
Like you
strange.
have to reach into that hole. That's where the handle is. But then why would you have a lid to that? That doesn't make any sense.
I've never seen that before. That's wild.
I'm sure that maybe if we have any gearheads out in the audience, by all means, please tell us about the door of the Dodge W series. So I believe that's what this is, but yeah, it's really, really weird. I will say though, we gave Tommy Lee some stick for just doing this whole thing, the entire chase, but like. Absolutely love his cries of anguish as the Batman.
Yes.
Like it's just...
And I love the look on his face because it's almost like he's going, Batmobiles? They fly now? They fly now.
They fly now.
I did also voyeur that I am had a freeze frame the various windows we go past. And James Stewart style had a nosy into what the neighbors were up to. There's one person. Well, a lot of them are just like standard sort of like your inner window cliches. So you got like there's a really angry looking guy in a vest who's kind of standing with like his the old Superman pose, like what the hell is going on up there?
I see him. Yeah, who is this man?
If I was Joel Schumacher, I would have hidden some duck tits in there.
Oh, that actually would have been genius.
If I was Joel Schumacher, he's having to get through his 200,000 people that he banged. I would have just put himself in, just having an orgy in one of the windows. It's like, hey, I gotta keep the numbers up.
Yeah.
Just like give a thumbs up to the Batman as it goes past.
What year did that come out? 1986. Yeah, 10 years before. Yeah, definitely. This peak trying to hide some duck tits in an apartment.
Oh yeah,
all movies need to hide that.
Yeah, there's a random woman in a dressing gown, but there does seem to be one. There's some woman that looks like a woman in a bra, and then someone in there that almost looks like it's like a schoolgirl uniform. So maybe he was trying to slip in something, allude to something a little dirtier in the.
Yeah, I'd choose your words more carefully. Slip something in.
Maybe it's just me, because I think it's if you pause at 42 seconds in a minute, it looks like there's a woman changing. Maybe it's a guy in his normal suit though. Maybe I.
Well, there's a guy in a tank top, and then on the right, it looks like someone with pink hair.
Yeah, I assumed it was just like a woman with pink hair, and she's like a business casual.
Oh yeah.
That's kind of all I assumed.
But then we crash into much like Two-Face's goons. We crash into Edward Nygma's apartment. We're back with Jim Carrey,
and he's photoshopping his own head onto the statue of David.
Yeah.
But he's using the Clueless software to organize your wardrobe.
What is this software?
I don't know why this was a trope in the 90s. Was that a thing that existed? I don't know.
My favorite thing in 90s movies, you actually see it a lot in Jurassic Park, is when they insist on showing operating systems that function in a very visual way, even more so than Windows. Like they're hacking systems, but they're physically moving like between visual representations of things.
Oh, like Skyfall?
Yeah.
Oh man,
that's probably the worst.
I get why they're doing it. It's because computers, especially then, weren't exciting to watch. So we have to make this
and
fun.
Then cut to Mr. Robot, where it's just black screen and white text, and you're like, oh, this is so intense. Oh my god.
It reminded me though, Phil. Like I thought you would have been all about this because like the green walls at the side almost look like the lines of code in the Matrix. I was like,
oh, I see. Just because it looks like a thing he likes.
That's why I'm invited, huh?
That's why. That's the real reason.
So
Nygma is the one.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing, though, because, John, you mentioned that this is the statue of David. He's put his head atop.
Well, let me just say one thing, though. It's the statue of David, but they've edited it.
Marge Simpson would not be happy with this. They're
No,
censoring the statue of David.
They've censored the genitals, which has a historical precedence because, in the past when it was originally shown, they would cover it up with a fig leaf. But that was purely because people complained, even back in the day. But eventually they removed the fig leaf. But this isn't even the fig leaf. What the hell?
Maybe Edward doesn't have bits, so he was just being accurate to himself.
It could.
That's why he wears those really tight Zentai suits, because he doesn't even have to wear a dance belt. He just puts them on, he's ready to go.
And tying into my other podcast about Hedwig and the Angry Inch. Lack of genital.
That's one thing though, like, because you could take this is as the base joke, as like, oh, Edward Nygma's put his head atop this muscular, like really like a grand rippling classic example of of the masculine form, when he himself is like a little dweeb kind of guy.
Yeah.
But I was wondering though, again, giving Joel Schumacher like the benefit of the doubt, I wonder if there was something deeper in Edward Nygma putting his head atop the statue of David.
You might be on the same track as me. You go ahead.
But like, for a little, history of David, of course, there's a statue made by Michelangelo depicting the biblical figure of David, of David and Goliath fame. It was created in 1501 to 1504. It took him 3 years to hammer this thing out. And it's 17 foot, housed in Florence, originally designed to be like a kind of a grotesque, if you would. It was going to be atop the cathedral roof line, but then they were like, this is too good. We got to put it down amongst the people. And whatnot.
When they're up there, you can never see them properly.
Yeah, exactly.
So you want to see that junk right up close.
Yeah.
Until they brought in the fig leaf, apparently.
Well, speaking of the junk, and you can get back to your thing in a second now. Interestingly, it was quite an artistic choice to show him with the foreskin.
Oh.
Because, of course, he is a biblical figure. He would have been circumcised. But the Romans didn't do that then. They were very against that kind of thing. So the statue is inaccurate. It has the foreskin when it shouldn't.
They were setting him up for something, and he went a different way. Much like Alien 3, was Michelangelo's David the last Jedi of its day? Let's jump in and examine that.
Bat-Minute forever.
So, were you basically gonna say that it's brains versus brawn, and David embodies that?
That's the thing. It could be like, this is Nygma set himself up as he is the David versus the Goliath of Wayne Enterprises. Like,
he's the giant killer. I'm going to take him down.
Interesting.
Well, and also the statue itself is pointing towards Rome. So it's supposed to be looking at Rome as a way of sort of defending the Republic of Florence, like a warning glance.
Yeah.
Like, don't you come here or we'll take you down. So
Wow.
it's putting it in that kind of context as well. He's defending himself, his ideas, his work against Bruce.
Yeah. I think even at the end, when he gets the initial close on it, he puts where David has the sling, they put the stone in to take down Goliath. He puts the book of crosswords. So it's like, yes, through his puzzles and the riddles he's going to send to Bruce Wayne, this is how he's going to fell the giant and whatnot, which is part of Edward Nygma's plan. So to be fair, I do think, Joel Schumacher ain't no idiot. Like, I'm pretty sure he knew what he was doing. Again, this all ties into, like, he was going for Grecian statues throughout the rest of the movie. Because, of course, it's an Italian statue. But still, it looks very in line with the rest of Gotham's, decor and whatnot.
Well, it's a fictional place. It's fine. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So in
This is
Alien
amazing.
Covenant, this statue is in the opening scene. So I'm wondering how our discussions here are going to influence my interpretation of the statue of David in Alien Covenant.
Yeah. Completely forgot about that. Actually, I have one other thing that ties the statue of David into the movie, which I'm sure didn't play a part in it, but in my mind it does. Because interestingly, I didn't know this, in 1991, an artist attacked the statue with a hammer and smashed the toes off it. On one of the feet, I think it's the left foot, he smashed the toes off. This guy, Piero Canata.
Bastard.
The bastard. And he said that a 16th century Venetian painter's model ordered him to do it. He was arrested and the official word was he was called deranged by the police, which I'm not sure is an official term. But so I thought maybe he sees himself as well, it being in recent memory when this movie's made. He's been attacked. His ideas have been attacked.
Yeah.
How dare Bruce do this to him?
Wow.
I think Bruce Wayne took out his toes on the way out of the room, too. Shut the door on them. It's like, oh, God damn it, Bruce. Don't worry, Workman's Comp will cover that, Ed. I have to wonder though, why? Again, maybe it's because he has no other photos of himself. Edward Nygma is a complete dork. Why has he chosen this picture of himself to put up? Is this like his?
It's the only one he has.
Yeah, is this like his work ID picture where he was just like distracted when they were taking it? So it's just like
It is the 90s. You don't just have a camera with you at all times.
Well, that's true. Yeah, maybe it's like, this could have been cropped out of like a random family party he went to where he hated everybody there or something.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Well, sorry, young
all these
listeners.
backstories. It's great.
You might not know, young listeners, but yeah, people didn't just have cameras all the time.
No,
That was like a special thing.
it was. I remember.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember having to upload to DeviantArt.
Oh.
Like this is 2007, 2009, and I'd have to use an actual camera and take the card out and put it in the computer and then fiddle around with it.
What kind of ask though? While you guys are here again, Connor, you're a couple of years younger than us, so maybe I'll be interested in your perspective. And Phil, you were there as well. What did you make of the dominance of Jim Carrey in the 90s? Like, were you ever a fan of his? Are you a fan of Jim Carrey? Like, how does...
Oh, he was everywhere. Growing up, it was just wall-to-wall Jim Carrey movies. That and Mike Myers, actually. It was just Austin Powers, and you had The Mask and Ace Ventura, and all the kids would quote it, like that scene where he gets shot with 2 arrows in each leg, and he's going, ah, and then he turns the other, ah, yeah.
Yeah.
Those sorts of memes spread through my school.
Yeah. Yeah, Jim Carrey was around. I didn't really watch any Jim Carrey movies except maybe Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls, but that was a little bit later. And The Mask. And that's about it. I really didn't have... Jim Carrey did not affect
I kind of
past.
thought that you were going to be like a Jim Carrey guy, Phil. I know something about you. Like, I thought this seems like a man who would like Jim Carrey to me. But...
Oh, well, I'm sorry. I guess I just subverted your expectations.
Oh, is Phil Dragash the last Jedi of the Movies-by-Minutes community?
Well, Phil, do
Yeah.
you like him now? Because people who grew up with him tend now not to
like him, yeah.
those old
I
movies.
listened to the podcast. You guys talk about that quite a few times, I know. But I think he's all right. He's all right.
Oh.
He's okay. He's all right.
Yeah. I'm quite neutral to positive, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, his personal life I won't get into. He's got some interesting beliefs, let's just say. But as an actor, I do respect his work.
I was weirded out actually because the other day there was like a thing going around on the listeners page where it was Jim Carrey's birthday and people were like, oh, post up your top 5 favorite Jim Carrey movies and stuff. But actually looking through his IMDb, he's not done that much. Like, no. I thought it was going to be a tougher thing because it was mostly kind of like the same answers. It was just like, Truman Show, the best, Eternal Sunshine. And then it's all like, well...
Truman Show. Oh my god, that's so good.
That's all kind of your choice then is like, oh, you got them like The Mask and Dumb and Dumber. And that's all like a tight set. That's like a mid-90s set of movies he did.
Yeah, and then like 10 years later, Lemony Snickers, and then...
There's a lot of stuff. It's like, I thought for a guy who's been around this long, he would have had like a more diverse... Like you would have been able to call out like a random like, oh, he did this little movie way back when that nobody really saw, but I think that's his best work. Nothing like that. Everything he did was like, oh, every movie Jim Carrey was in because it was a Jim Carrey movie.
There's a lot of actors like that, especially from that era, like Harrison Ford. Harrison Ford did a bajillion movies in the 80s and 90s, and nothing in ages. And I mean, he's still an icon, so it really doesn't take too many movies. It's just the right movies at the right time.
Movies at the right time. Yes, absolutely.
I just remember, like Harrison Ford, like What Lies Beneath, and he just vanished. Like that was just literally the end of Harrison Ford for like 10 years. So it was like, there used to be like a movie star who had things out every year. Like what around that guy? got his earring caught in the door somewhere and couldn't get the set in time.
Let me just say we've hit the point where we were supposed to cut off now.
Yeah. Oh man, like, I'm kind of noted out for the scene. Do you guys have anything else about these particular minutes that you want to talk about? Or?
I was just saying, I always love costume design scenes in a movie where the character is trying to come up with what they're going to wear, and clearly they are not costume or fashion people, and it's very misguided, as we see here. Edward is trying to be the puzzler, which is a full-length kind of trench coat thing, which is a crossword puzzle.
The puzzler.
He's thinking, with the graphics and the textiles, but he's not thinking silhouette, and that's where he's going wrong, I think.
But yeah, usually this time of the week we always ask our guests about like their history with the movies. You guys have you've alluded to your histories with them. Are there any parting words you'd like to leave with Batman Forever?
Not particularly. Like, it's interesting. Like, when I watched this for the first time, I don't think I've seen it in cinemas. I definitely haven't, actually. And I've just seen it on VHS and then later on DVD. It's entertaining, but in the past, in the 90s, I did think that this was, the best version of Batman you could do. And I don't know what it is. I think it was just me as a kid who was just a shill. And I would just agree with everything that's being advertised to me. So I thought that this is the best Batman. Great Batmobile, cool costume. Didn't really even notice the nipples. And for me, I thought this was the newest and the best. So this will continue with Batman and Robin, where as a kid I thought the same thing. And yeah, as I got older, it just turned into an okay movie, I guess.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. Yeah.
But that means that, I just wanted to say that. But that
Yeah.
doesn't mean that I don't enjoy being on this podcast, because I really do like talking about these movies.
This Phil trying to make sure he secures his part for next
No,
season.
yes, please.
It's like, by the way, I
Phil,
still love
you're
all the
always-
movies, okay? Like,
You're
do.
always welcome.
Oh, thanks. But I do. I love them.
but Connor, I know you were like 2 when this came out, I guess. But like,
Yes.
uh,
So I guess I was surrounded by the merchandise and stuff. I probably saw the movies, but didn't really take them in. Batman Begins came out when I was 13, and at that point, I was definitely the know-it-all teen, just like, yes, this is how Batman is supposed to be. It is dark and serious, and that is the way Batman should be. And all this other shit that came before, what the fuck? And, just not being able to appreciate it for what it was. Like, whenever it came on TV, I just go, oh, it's disgusting. And as I got older and I came to enjoy good, bad movies and having movie nights with my friends, we always have a great time with these sorts of films, and also watching all the season finales of Gotham. Out of context, we'd never watched the show, we just watched the finales. I highly recommend it, by the way. Yeah, I can understand the value in different things, I suppose. That's the only way I can describe it, is that not everything has to be the same tone, and I think this is actually a wonderful example of how Batman is very versatile, and he's timeless, and he can be this campy character, he can be this kind of slightly kinky character in this movie, and especially in the next one.
Ooh.
And I think Batman has just been one of those characters, and these films specifically have shown me personally how my tastes have changed and how I'm able to appreciate things in a more sophisticated way.
oh.
Damn.
Hell yeah.
Well
on that
said.
note, we will head off. Would you like to both remind people where they can get in touch with the two of you? We'll go. Phil, you go first.
All right, so you can find I do a lot of things, but in this case, just like I said last time, in this case, the most appropriate would be saying that I co-host a podcast about movies. We talked about Batman Forever. We also argued about Spider-Man, Sam Raimi Spider-Man versus the MCU Spider-Man, because my co-hosts sometimes agree and one of us really does not agree about what I think about them, so I think that would be an interesting thing to listen to. It's called it's called twofoldpodcast.com. I think that's what it is. I'm usually really notorious at remembering the URLs, but it is the Twofold Podcast, so look for that. One word, Twofold. You'll find us arguing about movies, and it's a good time.
I think you should plug your Instagrams too. Maybe you can thwart the algorithm if we get enough people.
Oh, yeah. So I also...
Your anime girls and velociraptors.
Anime girls and velociraptors, yeah. So I draw as well, and if you would like to see the drawings I do, it is the man himself, all one word. That's a reference to Dracula, 1992.
Look, it is the man himself.
It is the man himself. Yes.
When you told me that's what it was,
that was.
I died. I was
I love that movie in a strange way.
underrated.
Yeah. And that's me. Thank you.
Yep.
And you can find me at traviandesigns.com, Travian. Travian, I've never actually explained it on my podcast, so I had this series of... I'm still writing these stories. Dr. Travian's Supernatural Orphanage. I used to customize the Monster High dolls, and I made my own unique characters and unleash my inner Guillermo del Toro. And to this day, I still work on those stories when I can, and I just illustrate those characters now. So it's more of a comic book type thing. So you can find all of that on traviandesigns.com. I do have an Instagram. It's mostly just my outfits and my new bunny, Baxter.
Yay.
It's just Connor Coulson Prime. Where is he? He's asleep now, probably.
Oh, is that it? That was everything?
Yeah.
I didn't know if you had more
I think
there.
that was everything, yeah. I mean, I can plug more stuff.
We'll go with that if you want. And you know where to find us. We're on Facebook, the Bat-Minute Listeners Cave. Instagram, the Bat-Minute. And that's also our website, thebatminute.com. Not the other ones. There's millions. No, there's not. There's no others.
The Bat-Minute?
The Bat-Minute. Because someone else had already got batminute.com. Well, we are going to head off now. I'm going to do one last thing. I'm going to toss this coin to see if our guests live or die. So between the two of you, it's one toss. You need to decide heads or tails.
All right. I guess I'll be tails.
Well,
No,
it has to
normally
apply to the
tails.
two of you. So you've got to decide.
Oh, I thought it was one each.
No.
I thought, like Saw, one of us has to die.
Oh,
No,
okay.
you're a duo now. You're tied.
Oh,
okay.
Do you want tails?
Tails.
Tails.
I've always been
Okay,
tails,
okay.
yeah.
Heads!
Oh.
No.
Niall! Blow them up with the bazooka.
I'm going to need you guys to speed behind me in your cars, and then I can go up a wall, and you can crash and die in a fiery death.
I think that'll be okay.
Yeah, if you'd be so kind as to get in your cars and prepare, yes, sir.
No problem.
We will blow these two up, and we will see you all again next week for more Bat-Minute Forever.
Next time, alias arbitration. A nascent enthusiast of sin works with a mannequin to select a suitable pseudonym. Polymorphic noms de plume are proposed, then put to bed, but with the glare of a literal light bulb overhead signal the genesis of the city's new source of dread? Find out next week. Same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute.
Ba-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da.